Welcome to Writer's Way Podcast, the podcast where we step into the enchanting world of authors as we delve into their unique writing journeys and the captivating tales behind their stories. I'm your host, Jessica Wilkins. Today, we're thrilled to welcome from the newsroom to the novel, and now to the intensity of the short story. Our guest today has lived and breathed the power of narrative. Bennett Kremen is a journalist, novelist, and a former magazine editor, and he's here to talk about his upcoming collection, short stories that promise to be brazen in their impact. Welcome, Mr. Bennett Kremen.
Well, thank you very much. I feel very privileged to be able to speak to you.
The honors is ours, Mr. Bennett. Now, the Passion of Anya Skaya is a rich tapestry of art, love, and destiny, set against the vibrant background of New York City. So, for our listeners who are just covering it, how would you best introduce this compelling tale?
Well, Anya Skaya is a very unique character. She's a combination. She has what's called a white Russian background. Her family was an aristocratic family in Russia before the Russian Revolution, the Communist Revolution, and many people of that community, they scattered all over. They were called white Russians, and they ended up all over the world, in Paris and in Buenos Aires, and there was a white Russian colony of people in New York City. So Anya Skaya was born in New York City from that ethnic and that background. So she's unique already to start with. Also, she's a very attractive woman, and an artist, a dancer. She has a dance troupe that's well respected in the New York modern dance community, in the New York art community, and so she's an artist. She has that unique background of both that exotic Russian background and a down-to-earth American experience in New York. So she has a lot of interesting cross currents going on in her personality, and her story is handles that in a action-oriented way, so that it moves along. It has a lot of twists and turns, and a lot of sort of thrilling elements involved in the development of her story. So Anya Skaya is that unique character. She has a lot of unusual features, which is not unknown in the New York art community. You've got a lot of very interesting and sort of special kind of people in that community. And I live in it, so I know it well.
That's why. So the story itself truly pulls you in from the very first page of it. And as we know, Anya Skaya, or being known as Anya, has a fascinating background from a Russian family and then to New York City. So how did you envision this dichotomy shaping her both as a dancer and as a woman itself?
Well, I have had friends in New York who were of that background, and living in Greenwich Village. Greenwich Village is a neighborhood in New York which is an artistic neighborhood, like Paris was an artistic neighborhood in the old days. He had very famous and great artists all gathering there, including Ernest Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Pablo Picasso. They used to hang around an area in Paris. They used to be called Bohemians. That was a word that applied to them. And so New York had a neighborhood like that in New York, and it was called Greenwich Village in downtown New York. And that's where Anya Skaya has her dance studio. And so, yeah, I know about it because I know people like that, literally. So I was able to. Yeah, so I was able to. Yeah, and some of them have very unusual stories. Of course, it's fiction, and I added things to it. But there were elements of about Anya Skaya that I knew that were real, that people I knew had aspects of that type of character and that type of experience. That's where, I tapped into that to create this character.
So it adds up a unique layer to her personality, and the book delves really into Anya's Russian heritage and the exile, and then what role does her family history plays in her own journey and the choices that she made in life.
A major role. She was very close to her father, and her father was a unique man. He was kind of, you've heard of Russian mysticism. It's a well-known thing.
Yeah.
It's an element of the old Russian culture. Her father was a part of that, and that family name is Deborovich, Anya Skaya Deborovich. The Deborovich family, they were involved with Madame Ouspensky, just a famous old Russian mystic. Other famous mystic and Russian personalities. Rasputin was a famous one. So the Rasputin was the czars, the czarinas, a spiritual advisor. So her father, her grandfather, was related to that community, and so Anya Skaya she had spiritual interests that was part of her family background, and that gets involved in the story. There's a spiritual side and a very profound and very graphic sensual side. You got both in Anya Skaya.
So that's why. And from the book, the sense of yearning is palpable in her relationship. So let's talk about with Sonny Boy. So he emerged from a tough world of Brooklyn's Borgatas. And what does his background bring to the story? How does Sorry.
Right, so we're talking about the one of the major male characters. Actually, a major male character who Anya Skaya gets involved with romantically in a very torrid, and
oh my God,
and a very memorable way. I assure you. I'll return the book if you don't find that in it. There's a lot of that. He is from Brooklyn. His name is Salvatore Aiello, but he's called Sonny Boy Aiello. What can I tell you? Sonny Boy Aiello is part of the mafia.
Oh,
the mafia, yes, he's one of them. And amazing how he got involved with a very high-class, sensitive, artistic personality. That happens in reality in Greenwich Village in New York. I've seen that happen in reality, where you have that kind of a thing. Very unlikely, but it happens in that environment. So Anya Skaya does get involved with Sonny Boy Aiello, and there is another character named Andre Millington, who is from a major banking international family, billionaires really.
Ooh.
And he was, their paths cross, and he actually falls in love with Anya Skaya, and she has to reject him, and he's very bitter and what have you. He gets involved, so Anya gets involved with Sonny Boy Aiello, and how that happens is a fascinating story by itself. And Andre, the huge billionaires with great financial and political power. Remember, Sonny Boy is in the mafia. The Millington family was able to bear pressure on the FBI and the government to go after Sonny Boy Aiello and make trouble for him. And how that unfolds is a hell of a story.
From what you said itself, it's quite intriguing, and it adds up to the dynamic relationship between characters itself. And now, speaking of relationship between characters, since Anya Skaya is being in a complex love triangle, so what are the key differences in Anya's connection with Henry and Sonny Boy? Does each relationship offer her on emotional and perhaps even in practical level?
Well, Anya's relationship to Sonny Boy is not practical. It's actually dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's just called the Passion of Anya Skaya. There is she's driven. Her attraction to Sonny Boy, she can't control it. He has that effect on her. It makes her instincts are telling, get away from this. People, readers and your audience, we all know people had our own experiences where we get into romantic situations and we find it very hard to get out of it, and it obsesses us, and we know that they're not, it's not good for us, but we get involved in it anyhow. It's one of those kind of relationships. So that's what Sonny Boy, but it's very real. It's a real thing. And so the other person involved, really, his character, as it's revealed, you'll see why Anya had to reject him. And it left him bitter and vindictive. And he had a lot of power.
Yes. From those power itself, I guess the element of power and privilege from Henry's family really influenced the unfolding drama of it. And how does this power and privilege heighten the stakes for Anya?
Oh, it heightens it very dramatically. It really influences the story. And so now you have Anya and Sonny Boy. They really are involved with each other, trying to dodge and weave and find a way out of getting around the pressure that the Millington family is putting on them. And very hair-raising. The pressure that the Millingtons can bring politically, they have influence over, let's say, the FBI and criminal investigations get started. And what this does, what it really creates, the biggest danger to Sonny Boy is when they put pressure, when a major government agency puts pressure on some of these people, some of these mafia people, it doesn't only put pressure on our character, Sonny Boy Aiello, it puts pressure on all of his associates that he's involved with. They're called mafia families. You've heard that term?
Yes.
He belongs to a family, a mafia family. So they don't just pressure one guy, they pressure the whole family. And they do the whole family. So Sonny Boy's associates now become a danger to Sonny Boy, because Sonny Boy is bringing what they call, in criminal language, heat. He's bringing pressure, and they don't like it. It hurts them financially. They own restaurants and businesses and all that. They get pressured. They lose money. They get investigated. They do not like it at all. So by Sonny sticking with Anya Skaya and angering and inducing this vengeance, it puts Sonny's whole mafia family in jeopardy. Now, how do they handle that? They murder him. That's their method of, they get rid of the problem. Their own. They shoot their own. They kill their own under those circumstances. I'm not saying that Sonny got killed. All I'm saying is he ran into a hurricane of trouble as a result of that from his own associates.
So it's like an emotional roller coaster for both.
The book is. It is.
It is.
It has a lot. It's just not. Yeah. The story just doesn't let down. There's always a something going. There's always a tension and what's going to happen next. And that goes on a lot.
Yes. So the story also suggests that Anya is simultaneously mortified and enraptured by Sonny Boy.
Yes.
That's such a powerful and complex emotional state. What do you think creates the intense attraction, and what does it reveal about Anya's bizarre and hidden depth?
Yes, it puts Anya in a very strange position. Remember, she has this spiritualist and sort of mystic background of some of her, her family, and it influences her. And she's very deep into Eastern, mysticism, Taoism, and she's studied all of that, knows a lot about it, and her family has been she's gone on trips when she was a little child to Tibet, to, pilgrimages to very holy places, She's watched ceremonies on the, the major river in India. They have some of these ceremonies on the Ganges. She's been there. She's, but yet she's a very modern American woman growing up in New York. So you got this mixture of things. So a part of her is looking for a higher consciousness. Her father was always looking for that. He influenced her greatly. So she's going to do a dance performance, a very special kind, and the book goes into it a lot. She brings together dancing and music and from different religions, like there's a dancer that the Muslims do, the Sufi Muslims, which they just go in a circle. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's very fascinating.
I haven't seen.
All right, I described that. And then, you got Gregorian chants from Catholicism, and you got spiritual hymns from Protestantism, and you got Hindu, you got Buddhist stuff with the big Buddhist, these huge horns that blast up in the middle in the Himalayas. They're meant to drive people to hell, to drive devils away. So she puts a dance performance together that combines all of these different religious things, and very fascinating. And it's described. And there are scenes with her dancers where they're rehearsing all of that. So there's a side of her that's looking for a higher consciousness. And here she's involved with a mafia guy.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
All of those from being into a more solid background and then having more into spiritual side. It's quite and then he's related to a mafia, kind of, a roller coaster it is.
Oh, yeah.
And then as Anya Skaya is being a dancer itself, so dance was a central of Anya's life, and it's not just her profession itself, it's an integral part of her identity. How do you use dance as a metaphor to explore broader theme of passion, freedom, and self-expression throughout the novel?
You mean through her art and her dance? Yes. Well, real art does deal with the everything. It deals with our moral life, our psychological life. It deals with our hope. It deals with trying to understand the world, try to make sense of the world, which is not easy to understand, and that's really an artist's responsibility to try through the tales and stories and exploration of personalities and plots and situations to give us something to help us not only. Of course, it entertains us. That's very important. That the art should be, should be entertaining. But it's an entertainment that also enlightens us. It also relieves us. It also helps us deal with the mysteries and complexities of the world. So Anya's dance performance is dealing with that higher consciousness part of her personality in life. It's also dealing with the New York theater scene, which is anything but mystic and a high consciousness. It's very hard-headed place. So she's always juggling these different conflicting influences. So in her art, she's trying to find greater meaning, trying to make sense of things, trying to fulfill a certain a mission like her father had to enhance the consciousness of the world. So all of that goes into her dance. Plus, she's a consummate artist, disciplined, and you see there are scenes in which you see how that works with the personalities of the dancers and what their rehearsals are like. It brings you in there. You take a look and see how they do it in real terms. So you have that realistic stuff, and then you have these higher ideals and higher interests and pursuits all going on at the same time. So it wasn't easy to do, but it took me a long time to do it and write it properly so that everybody could understand it and participate in it and go through that experience.
I see. And it's the metaphor that you have used is such a powerful one, and this very relevant, or yes, in the world of Anya Skaya and with the New York City life and with the theater itself. So everything is intertwined. And we also talked about Mr. Bennett with regards to the worlds, shall I say, different worlds of both characters or the characters itself. We have a old world traditions versus modern ambition. We have high society versus the underworld. And what commentary might you be offering on this contrast and the tension that they create along the story?
Well, yes, these different worlds in this story collide, and create, thunder and lightning, so to speak. Yes, it's very comprehensive. Mm-hmm. It brings in all kind of elements in modern life. It shows everyday life and the workings of the theater, and it goes into the background of Sonny Boy Aiello. I take you into Brooklyn, into the mafia neighborhoods, and it brings you in it. Very few people have seen that. You will see it in this book described. I take you there. I hope someday there'll be some movie interest in it, and I hope someday a director like Scorsese, who did The Goodfellas, would see this. I hope someday to get this book to him. I'm looking for ways to try to get this book to him and get him aware of it, because the way I describe that, Jessica, is if Martin Scorsese read the first chapter, well, no, that would be The Savage Days, Haunted Nights, which is another book I'm being published next week. It's called Savage Days, Haunted Nights. It'll be on the market. It'll be available at Barnes & Noble or on Amazon. And the pub date is the 15th or 16th of this month. It's called Savage Days, Haunted Nights. Sonny Boy Aiello appears in that book. He first appears in this other novel, which is her first novel. Sonny Boy is a character in that novel. And then that really goes into the whole background of the mafia in detail. That's what I say. If Martin Scorsese read the first chapter of that book, he would know immediately that I know what he knows. He would know it immediately. Because I grew up in one of those neighborhoods in Chicago. It was Al Capone's neighborhood, literally his neighborhood. So I know that world, and I know the artistic world in Greenwich Village. In Anya Skaya, I bring the two together. And in my descriptions of Anya and Sonny Boy, I go into Brooklyn, into the mafia background, and you're taken in and you're showed everything. You'll see it all. At the same time, you'll see the intersanctum, the internal workings of the artistic world in New York and in high society. So I'm putting them all together. I think it worked, Jessica. I really think it worked. And different reviews of it and feedback from it, it's easy for an author to praise his own book. I really try to avoid that. I know how bad that can be for a writer. So I wait for opinions other than my own, from professional opinions, from people to hear what they have to say. So the feedback coming in on both books has been quite positive, and I'm almost certain that where I take the reader there is quite rare, and it's not just in one area of society, it's in 2 or 3 very different areas, and it all blends together in a medley, in a counterpoint of these different worlds interacting with each other.
Oh, it's very interesting. And aside from the things that we've talked about, it's from very, very intriguing on having the Passion of Anya Skaya. And now when I learned that there is a sequel, or was it a prequel or a sequel?
Sonny Boy Aiello, the character in Anya Skaya, appears in this book that's being republished in a week. It's called Savage Days, Haunted Nights. Sonny Boy appears in that book. Then he appears there first. Then Anya Skaya was not involved at that time. That's earlier.
Oh.
Then he reappears in The Passion of Anya Skaya as the main character. He and Anya are really equally main characters.
Mm-hmm. So, from the Savage Days and Haunted Nights, it's somewhat like a past of Sonny Boy.
Yes.
Since,
the
past story.
It's not Sonny Boy's story, but he's in there. Absolutely.
Yes, he's in there. Yes.
And you see his mafia, how that works, exactly how. And so that takes place in the novel that's being published next week, Savage Days, Haunted Nights. There Sonny Boy appears for the first time. Then in the next book, which Writer's Way Solution will be publishing, I'm revising the manuscript actually. When that's published, Sonny Boy then becomes a main character. In the first book, he wasn't the main character, but he was an important character. In Anya Skaya, he is one of the main characters, and quite a character.
Okay.
If you know these mafia guys, they're terrible. They kill people, and they're awful in many, many ways. But they're also very funny. They have a sense of humor, and I capture that.
That's nice. And I'm so intrigued to see the book itself, and I would love to read that book. And hopefully next week I can grab a copy of mine also. So for this, Sir Bennett, Sonny Boy is described as having the hardness of someone tested brilliantly in raging flames. That's such a vivid and evocative description. What does it suggest about his character arc, his past, and his challenges that he'd had to overcome?
Okay, Sonny Boy grew up, poor in Brooklyn. His father was a longshoreman. They unload the cargo ships, and in the old day, in that era, a lot of cargo was unloaded in Brooklyn. And Sonny Boy grew up in what's called Red Hook, Brooklyn, which is now a very fancy and beautiful neighborhood. But in those days, it was a lonely waterfront neighborhood full of crime. And so he grew up there. His father was a longshoreman. His father died in an injury as a longshoreman. He was hit by a load coming off of a boat, and he died when Sonny was still a young boy, and it influenced him very profoundly. And although he was very intelligent and so on and so forth, became a troublemaker in school, and then he, as a result of being a troublemaker in school, he dropped out. Or who do you hang around when you drop out of school? Other people other kids who drop. It's called a borgata, a bunch of kids hanging around in a gang. It's an Italian word for really, the beginning mafia begins in the borgatas of teenagers.
Oh, okay, borgatas. Now I know the meaning of borgatas.
Yeah, it's really a gang of teenagers who are on their way to the mafia. Yes, called a borgata. So he falls into them, and he gets involved with somebody called Big Tony Torricella. And they form an alliance, and then they get into, they get power in the underworld, and they become rich, like these guys do, and you see that trajectory, how that developed, and that's worked out in both books. In Sonny's case, it's worked out in more detail. So I take you into that background and show you how that develops from a young kid to a grown man, and you'll know the whole story. It's all in the same book. At the same time, you get all this stuff about art and religion and spiritualism, and it's going on at the same time. I surprise myself sometimes. Well, I worried many times, can I really put this all together? They clash with each other. They don't seem to go together, but they do. In this book, they interchange with each other very gracefully, very normally, very naturally. It's a very realistic story, believable. And so you get that background. The only one that I know of who has gone into the background of that stuff, great artistic integrity, probably the best ever dealing with that subject, is Martin Scorsese. A couple of his movies. One was called Mean Streets. The other one was called The Goodfellows. And then a couple of more. In those movies is probably the most accurate and compelling and realistic rendering and explanation and recreation of that world. It's never been done better. Never. And I tried, in the parts that I deal with that world, that was my standard. Try to live up to what he did. And I did my best.
It's good, Sir Bennett, because you give justice to all clashing characters and so as clashing societal hierarchies within a single book. It gives us a thought of how would this all be fit in a smooth story like this, and it gives us attention that we wanted in a book, not the kind of book that we wanted to. Most books that being published nowadays that has been a letdown, shall I say? But this with our talk, it's so intriguing, and with the characters that you brought for this is so amazing.
Well, the thing is, Jessica, most books will deal with one of these worlds, which is just a great, absolutely fantastic artistic creations have been done about the aristocratic world or the underworld. Great books have been written about that, or about the artistic world. Each one of them it could be a book of its own. This one combines three different, and at the center of it is an incredible love story. It really is a major love story. You got all the passion and all the sensuality and the sexuality. It's all there, but it's more than that. It's beyond that. This is a real, how does Shakespeare describe Romeo and Juliet? Star-crossed lovers, right? These are star-crossed lovers. Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of star-crossed lovers, Mr. Bennett, the ending is described as tragic. This is a very powerful choice. What kind of emotional impact did you aim to create with that ending, and what message, or should I say reflection, do you hope to leave with the reader?
That's a complicated question, and I've had to ponder that myself. It's a tragedy. Some of the greatest art in the world has been tragedy. People want to be entertained, but weirdly, tragedies entertain. Take the famous Greek tragedies. They're 2,000 years old. They're still performing them. Oedipus Rex, Medea, they're still performing it 2,000 years later. And the people are, by the end of the play, you got dead bodies laying around. And just great tragedy. Who wants to go see tragedies? But there's something in us. It's a part of understanding and dealing with life, And that's what this art does. That's what tragedy does. It's a necessary part of the culture that be dealt with. So yes, it is a tragedy, but that doesn't mean it's not entertaining. The tragedy makes it even more entertaining. And what does that leave you with? What's involved with this tragedy? Anya Skaya, when she started getting involved with Sonny Boy, knew this was a forbidden love, is what it was, certainly. She knew she was going into dangerous territory, and a part of it was rationalizing, well, maybe I could elevate him, you know? I can elevate his consciousness, and which is admirable and wonderful, except by her doing that, it contributed to the tragedy. There are warnings from Eastern mysticism. If you try to change people when they're not ready to change, and she knows that because she very, really understands all of that, but she does it anyhow. And in the end, it did contribute to the tragedy, which is an irony, right?
Yes, very.
So there's a great irony in that. So her trying to rise her out of the darkness and the evil actually made it worse. Sometimes the good intentions can create problems you never anticipated.
Yes, I agree to that.
So that's part of the what's involved in the ending.
That's why a very intricate ending it is. And then, Mr. Bennett, I would like to ask a more personal question. So, if you, as the author, could step into Anya's shoes for a brief moment, is there one decision that makes in the course of the novel that you might approach differently, and why?
Well, if Anya had done something different, there wouldn't be this novel. It would be something quite different. Her consummating what was a forbidden love affair was the only way that it would have been different if she didn't consummate that love affair. But she did. Anya Skaya not consummating that love affair is a very interesting woman, all on her own. I probably could have written a whole novel about her and her artistic challenges and many other things in her life that would have been very, very interesting, all by itself. Because, like Anna Karenina was just an interesting character. Flaubert's Madame Bovary. An interesting woman, interesting characters, and the whole story about their lives is just interesting. The same thing would have been true of Anya Skaya, all on her own, intrinsically interesting. But adding that, falling into that forbidden love affair, makes an interesting person a completely intriguing person. It's more, it takes it to a totally different level.
And it speaks to the complexity of the character itself, which is Anya. And which character do you find most compelling to write, and what is it about their story that particularly drew you in as an author?
One of the big challenges, I've written, many, many years, short stories and what have you, and it was always a challenge for me to write from a woman's point of view. I'm very masculine-oriented, and I write a lot of masculine-oriented things and have in the past. So the challenge to me, can you really, really, really write, intimately and powerfully a woman's psychology, a woman's sensibility? Now, there are male authors who have done that brilliantly. Take Tolstoy. He wrote Anna Karenina. He got into the psychology, the female psychology of Anna, like, very few people, men or women, are able to do. So a man can do that. Flaubert's Madame Bovary, there's a man writing about Madame Bovary. And you won't find a more realistic woman character anywhere in literature or in life. So that was the challenge I presented to myself. Okay, there's somebody I know, an artist in the village, who did have a love affair with a mafia guy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She's an artist. So that's the basis of the story. But I challenge to myself is, how could I write? Do I have the capacity and can I actually do that? I know I've created male characters, many of them, but can I create a female character that's totally female? That nobody who reads Merritt and Bovary for a moment will ever think that that's not totally female.
Yeah.
Do I have that ability? It was a challenge to me. I wasn't sure that I did. So I found out writing the book, I think I did. Jessica, I hope I did. I believe I did.
You did. You did a great job in having Anya being born into the story. And Anya is one of the, shall I say, one of the children that would cement that doubt that in you, that still you can go into a woman's psychology. And Anya is the proof of it.
Oh yeah, no, I feel much more fulfilled as a writer, having gone through it and think that I might have pulled it off. No, it's done a lot for me as a writer, a lot. I will be writing about women again. I know I can do it.
Oh, yes, I know you can, Mr. Bennett. And of course, I love with all the connections and with all the complexities that it brings, or that you might bring to a character, a female character it is. And
yes.
I have no doubt that readers will be also eager to imagine those type of characters for themselves. So, to bring to our discussion to a close, for listeners who appreciate and seek out stories with strong and independent female characters, passionate and complex relationships, and a seamless blend of artistic and dramatic elements, what would you say the core appeal of the Passion of Anya Skaya, and what makes it truly a must-read experience?
Well, the word passion is not only sexual passion. There is absolutely, really memorable sexual passion in that book. But the word passion is greater than that. You've heard of the Passion of Christ?
Yes.
They use the word passion. It's not a sexual passion. The passion of Christ. So Anya Skaya's passion is definitely sexual. Nothing spared there, but it's a much deeper passion that I'm dealing with, and that Anya's dealing with in this book. And it has to do with, the consciousness and, the meaning of good and evil and tragedy. All of that combined. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it is. So that's a very wonderful way on how you put the word passion of Anya Skaya.
It is a passion, not just sexual passion. It's a great, universal, meaningful passion.
Yes, it is. And now, before we let you go, Mr. Bennett, our listeners are always eager to know what's next for you as an author. So can you give a little hint about any upcoming projects or anything, a book release perhaps, or any promotional you wanted to have for this podcast?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I mentioned Savage Days, Haunted Nights. That book is coming out next week on Amazon, certainly, and probably Barnes & Noble's. So that Savage Days, Haunted Nights. My name is Bennett Kremen, Kremen. Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. If that book does well, it will set up the launch for the Passion of Anya Skaya, which we're going to do with Writer's Way Solution with you folks. So
yes.
I want to inform people about that. Now, beyond that, I have a novella and a series of short stories. After Anya Skaya, that will be the next book that will be coming out. The novella is a very unique one. As you know, as we all know now, the whole world is in trouble. Am I hallucinating, or do you also feel it might be a little bit in trouble?
We are in trouble.
We are in trouble. So
Yeah.
the novel, yes, we all are. God help us. I hope we get out of it. See, so the novel deals with where did the trouble really come from? And that's the novella. And it goes back to when we were hunter-gatherers. And I recreate that into modern times. And you see the arc of where this trouble really came from and what went wrong. So that's the novella. And then there's a series of short stories that go with it. It will make a whole volume. And the short stories deal with everything. We'll need another hour to go into that. That's for another interview, Jessica, later on.
That's another one. Okay, so Bennett Kremen, this has been an absolutely captivating conversation, and thank you so much for sharing your insight and passion for the Passion of Anya Skaya and for your upcoming book, The Savage Days and Haunted Night. And thank you so much to all our listeners. So make sure that you grab a copy for the books of The Passion of Anya Skaya and The Savage Days and Haunted Night will be published next week. So make it sure that you get yours. So this has been your host, Jessica Wilkins, and once again, thank you so much, Mr. Bennett Kremen, for being good guest with us here in Writer's Way podcast.
Thank you, Jessica. I enjoyed this interview, and you really gave me a chance to go into it in depth, and that's great. We should do this again.
Yes, we should, Dr. Bennett. Thank you so much also. So thank you all for tuning in, and be sure to check out our books of Mr. Bennett Kremen and The Passion of Anya Skaya and The Savage Days of Haunted Night will be published next week. So join us again for another meaningful conversation on Writer's Way podcast. Until next time, stay inspired and keep reading. Thank you so much and have a good day.